So in this video I want to look at an awesome small system that I've just put together, as well as addressing some of the comments I've got recently and just clarifying my position a little bit. It's not as serious as it sounds though, because that's not my style, is it? Hey up, I'm Aaron, thanks for tuning in to another modular video. Stick around and you might just friggin' learn something, who knows. So I've put this system together out of some spares, and when I say spares, they just weren't in the main case here, but I wanted them to be racked somewhere, so I've stuck them in the pallet next to it. As it happens, the modules I had got me thinking, like they often do, but first I need to explain what's been going on behind the scenes a little. Not proper reality though. Proper reality is I've been up a scaffold freezing my bollocks off painting a barge board on a property that I'm doing up, but I mean like YouTube reality where it's a bit more rock and roll than that. So here's a quick recap, and it's leading to a point and a modular system, I promise. I'm friggin' setting the scene a little if you don't mind. So recently I posted a video discussing how I don't think there's the link between semi-modular and modular that people make out. Not that there's no link, just not the link. No patch puns intended there. Just to clarify, I love semi-modular and I love modular and I love all those in between. Sounds like an Aldi advert, doesn't it? I'm not suggesting to buy one over the other per se. In fact, I think you should save all your pennies for a rainy day. Or better still, only buy products that directly line my pockets from my website, if I'm being honest. In a nutshell, I don't believe it's necessarily a gateway. Though it is one way, my experience was that I didn't understand synthesis based on the semi-modular, but I did get the semi-modular after exploring modular, if you're with me. So with that, on the channel, I just like to offer alternatives and encourage discussion really, which I did. And some people had similar experiences and some people didn't, which is fine. Anything beyond that, I guess you can watch in the video. Okay, so why have I just said all that? It isn't to prevent having those conversations at all. I love talking to people in the comments about that sort of stuff. I'm happy to be corrected when I'm wrong. I'm used to it living with our lass. It's like how I presume the ES9 had ADAT like the ES8, which it doesn't, which is pure madness. And kind people commented and corrected that, which helps everybody. I'm all about that. And I'm happy to hear other people's experiences as well. In fact, that's the point, isn't it? That's what I want to do. Why I said it was to directly address one comment in particular that I got multiple times, which was simply, buy a Neutron. Now, this isn't a dig at those people, by the way. I appreciate anyone taking time to watch and comment on my videos. Usually, as well, it came with justification. And again, I don't disagree with those people, but like with everything, it's just not that simple, is it? So I thought it was worth talking about. Now, taking out any bad press that the company gets, and even taking out the manufacturers of the synth at all, to be honest, by all accounts, it's a great synth. Again, I'm not here to encourage or discourage sales, because I don't see any money from it anyway, so why would I give a toss? If they want to pay me, I'll tattoo a Neutron on my ass if it'll increase the money I see. But until then, don't care. But regardless of all that, my response has been the same every time. Sure, buy a Neutron if all you want is a subtractive one-voice synth, be it powerful or otherwise. I know it's paraphonic too, and it has some effects and ring modulators and all sorts of good stuff, which is all well and good, and I agree. If that's what you want, get one. But all that becomes irrelevant when you don't want that, and you shouldn't presume that everyone does, which again is why my position isn't really to advertise any products. Not that I wouldn't, I'd sell out as soon as they come knocking, if I'm honest with you. Even then, I can only ever show what I do with it based on my needs and wants, and my position is just to offer various options. If one suits you, it suits you. If it doesn't, that's cool. Which, advertently, albeit round the houses, leads me into this case. I told you I'd get there. So I never really think about what does this case offer, and actually you probably should. But because modular's ever changing and been repatched, etc., as we know, you don't always think about that. But really what this case is a West Coast style complex oscillator with a low pass gate and a fractal sequencer and a second voice which is a resonator that I don't have patched but equally could sequence and gate separately if I wanted to. That was a lot of words. Now, to my knowledge, no one offers an off-the-shelf product that does exactly that, because it's quite niche, isn't it? And that's where, for my needs, modular works. If it don't work for you, then buy a friggin' Neutron. They're great. But that's what works for me. Anyway, you might just think I've lost the plot and I'm just rambling, which is quite often what I do. But even then, even if it's just because you feel sorry for me, tap that like button, because synth lovers love a button. You've got no excuse. And I'm just trying to make modular a little less scary for people. And now that it's tapped, let's make some music and chat about this modular system. So here we go, it's patched and it's running. I have the Bloom sequence in it, sending CV pitch information to the Brenso, which is an analog complex oscillator. I'm also sending a gate to the low pass gate, or the LPG if you like. For those who don't know, a complex oscillator is where you have two oscillators and some form of internal modulation basically. As far as I'm convinced, it always uses additive synthesis, but some boffin can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, I'm sure. This one certainly does though. A low pass gate is basically a filter that mutes a sound until it's fed CV in a frigging nutshell. This one's passive and doesn't technically fit in the case, but I've wedged it in. Then rings didn't do anything, so you can ignore that if you want. The oscillator goes via the low pass gate so that rather than a drone, it gets triggered with the gates. Just had mince and tatties and I feel all full. I've had a few ideas of how I'd like to use it. What's great is that you can use a fractal sequencer to inspire some melodies and perform with it like it's been doing. But I also like the idea of really rapidly triggering one modulated note and recording it and then layering it with some others and getting a lot of modulated movement. So let's do that, I think. A bonus of using this type of oscillator then is that you can really get some unique sounds, I think, and by using a final mixed output and running it through things like the wave folder and such, you can produce some cool things. So here it is then, recorded with some drums, and they're also created with a modular, but that's for another video on another case I suppose. So you'll have to come back in the future to learn about that, because this video must be getting on a fair bit and your bath will be going cold. Just for the record, I presume that everybody watches my videos from the bath. So whilst that's playing then, I hope this is useful. I've been doing some community posts recently and I'll keep doing those in between the videos I reckon. Chuck any questions in the comments. Same goes for any questions about the modules themselves. In the meantime, click on one of the videos on the screen if you want to see more of my face. As always, you've been as placid as a mute swan. Cheers.